Titans, go!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, back in Titans Tower once again, only this time not with my co-host Jesse Jackson, who decided, well, he needs to scale things back because he has some things going on. His wife is having some health issues, and Jesse is the dutiful husband and is spending more time with his wife, so I can hardly fault him for that. So Jesse and Linda, my thoughts are with you, but thankfully, as we get ready to talk about some Young Justice Outsiders, we have special guest Phil Parrish from Capes and Lunatics, Sidekicks, and all that jazz here on the Southgate Media Group, who's been willing to help us out. And thank you, Phil, for coming on Titan Talk. Really appreciate it.
Hey, it's always a pleasure to be here, and not doing enough podcasts.
Exactly. Well, hey, if nothing else, this gives you another forum to kind of, reach out to some new listeners.
Exactly.
So fingers crossed for that. All right. And everybody, you should listen to Phil's podcast because he does some great podcasts for Southgate Media. So yeah, we're going to talk about Young Justice Outsiders, the animated series that based on the original Young Justice animated series that was brought back for DC Universe for a third season and developed, of course, by Brandon Vietti and Greg Weisman. And this had the first half of the season just released here at the beginning of January and just wrapped up for the first half of 13 episodes here at the end of January. And then apparently they're going to do the second half, probably sometime, I'm guessing, in the spring.
I thought I heard someone tell me June, maybe.
Oh, maybe, yeah, I think you're right. I think it is around late May or June. I think you're right. But I've enjoyed these episodes a lot. I was a fan of the original series, and so Phil, kind of let me pick your brain for a moment.
Okay.
And did you watch the original series?
Yes, I watched it originally, mostly as it aired.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird when season 2 aired. Like, I don't know if it's because it was the name change. Like, for a while, my DVR wasn't picking it up, so I had to go back and catch up.
Young Justice Invasion, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons, loved it. Of course, I'm a huge Nightwing fan, so
right. So
of course I loved it.
He's a player, exactly.
Yeah, I love the transition, from Robin to Nightwing.
Did you watch any episodes to kind of refresh your memory, because it's been off for so long before DC Universe brought it back? I know I watched the last couple of episodes of season 2 to kind of try to get a feel for what happened before starting. Did you do any of that, or did you just dive right in?
No, I did a rewatch around New Year's Eve and stuff. Me and my son watched the first season and most of season 2.
What does your son think of it?
He likes it. He's 5, almost 6, yeah, and he enjoys it.
Okay, so he's old enough to kind of get into it a little bit.
Yes.
And appreciate the characters and whatnot.
Yeah, it was nice
who's his favorite character?
I don't know.
You should know this. You're the dad.
I know. He likes a lot of the characters, but I did hear Forager keep coming up.
Okay.
Well, in season 3, when we were watching the season 3s, yes, that was the name that was coming up the most, was Forager.
I have to think the kids love Forager.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Bug with 2 G's.
Oh yeah.
And because and Forager who does the voice, who's voiced by Jason Spizak, who used to voice Kid Flash, but hey, they killed off Kid Flash, or did they? You never know. And so it's kind of cool that they decided, well, they'll just give the actor a new role, and he does it. He's doing a really good job with it. He brings a lot of great comic relief, I think, to
Hmm.
the show.
They need to give other people besides Kari Payton some work.
Kari Payton, yeah, we'll talk about that. But Kari, Kari Payton is like, if you don't not familiar with Kari Payton, if you watch The Walking Dead, he plays King Ezekiel on The Walking Dead, and he voices like 5,000 characters. Like apparently, if they have a black character, he's voicing like 9 times out of 10, it's Kari Payton voicing that character,
Oh yeah.
and so
But I found it was funny that he does the voice of Cyborg on Teen Titans Go, and I think
right.
he's done Cyborg in other places. But it seems like he does every black voice on season 3, but Cyborg.
Right. Yeah, they have somebody new. I think I wrote it down. What was it here? Where is it here? Oh, yeah, they have Zeno Robinson playing Vic Stone slash
Hmm.
Cyborg. So that's one he doesn't have to do at least.
What he did, he is do he Corey Payton's doing the voice of Silas Stone, right?
Yes, he is. So
Yeah.
he is kind of related to Cyborg, which I think is kind of funny.
Hmm.
But that's good. So um, let's see. So to kind of give some background, if you're not familiar with the show, and shame on you because it's such a great show. Um, this follows the lives of DC's teenage superheroes and sidekicks who essentially are like a covert action group, like this, simply known as the Team, because they're not really called Young Justice. They don't call themselves Young Justice, and they're kind of like, obviously kind of like similar to the Teen Titans,
Hmm.
that younger generation of future potential Justice League members. And in this third season, essentially they battle things like metahuman trafficking and kind of followed up on events of the second season, Invasion, where this alien um, group known as the Reach, uh, they revealed the existence of what's known as the metagene, which apparently set off a whole chain of events where, like, you've got various nations and organizations um, essentially trying to jockey for position in kind of this super-powered arms race, if that's fair to say. And so they're all trying to get their, their metahumans, and if so, as a result, metahumans, young people with metahuman potential, are being trafficked, and it's kind of like this, they're almost become this very hot global commodity.
Yeah.
So, in order to deal with this, though, um, we have Nightwing essentially forming another, like a spin-off of the Team, which essentially here is called the Outsiders, which is why we have Young Justice colon the outside or Outsiders. And if you're a comic book fan, I know Phil knows this. I know this. Essentially, if you're a fan of the classic '80s comic Batman: The Outsiders, this season essentially is a version of this. So Phil, what did you think about, before we get into this a little bit? Um, were you excited to see the Outsiders characters, at least some of them, being brought to animated form?
It was a mix of I really wanted to see these Outsiders characters,
Yeah,
especially Black Lightning, because Black Lightning's so high profile right now since he
right.
has his own TV show and everything. Yeah, I was excited to see them, but also I kind of missed some of those original characters, like we were talking about Kid Flash, and we really haven't seen Calder that much this season.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I love the Outsiders stuff. The characters they've introduced, like I said, Black Lightning, Geo Force, Halo.
Right. Now yeah, so let's see, let me kind of so we kind of did a little bit of a general overview already, but why don't we just, since we're on the topic, why don't we just go ahead and dive into the Outsiders, our first topic. And because this is obviously the main drive of the series, this group. And essentially, instead of Batman and the Outsiders, it's essentially Nightwing and the Outsiders in this
Hmm.
version. So, as a Nightwing fan, you had to kind of be geeking out that Nightwing was getting a more high profile this season.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Like I said, I've loved him in this show even back in the Robin days, but
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, and later on we did get a Nightwing led tight Outsiders. So
Yeah, and and it's a credit that they decided to get so much of the original voice cast, I think, for this show.
oh yeah.
Because obviously they had Jesse McCartney playing Nightwing, Dick Grayson, and other team members that are in this group include Nolan North as Connor Kent slash Superboy. So who's was a kind of a one of the major Young Justice team members
Hmm.
with Miss Martian, and they had a little bit of a on and off relationship, which apparently is pretty on at the moment. So we have that, and then we have Tigress slash Artemis Croc, who was heavily in love with Kid Flash, Wally West, until he died,
Hmm.
and she was kind of drifting a little bit, and then um, she was used to be called Artemis, and now she's called Tigress, and she seems a little bit more at peace with that. I,
Hmm.
and it's taking a kind of like a almost like a co-leadership or a co-mentorship role with along with Nightwing, I think, and Superboy of these new outsiders heroes.
Yeah, I think her and Nightwing are like co-leaders. You could say almost the same as Superboy, but I think he's kind of more like he's fighting, wanting to be back on the team, but meanwhile, him and Miss Martian are just like, yeah, we said we'd cut back on the superheroics, and
Now, are you kind of bummed that they kind of let kind of shunted Miss Martian off to the background a bit?
a little bit. I mean, story wise, I see how they did it.
I mean, she's still involved here and there, but not like she was in the
But
original series.
she's like more in the Justice League. So
Right. Almost kind
I
of like
just
a liaison between the Outsiders and the Justice League, I think.
yeah, because I think they're kind of doing that in the comics right now. But
Yeah, yeah, because
I just
she's in the Titans at the moment.
yeah, I've been speculating that maybe if, next season, we're getting another season. But
Yeah, well, yes, apparently, yeah, the ratings have been very good,
oh, I'm sure people have
and
been clamoring for this for since it went off the air after
ex
season 2.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I would not be surprised if we see season four.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did something with like the league either. I don't know. I don't want to say retires or disappears or something. If maybe some of these people step up and become the
Right,
new Justice League, you get like Nightwing could be your Batman. You have Superboy. You have Miss Martian. You
right.
have already have a new Aquaman.
Yeah, yeah, because Cal Durham, who was the previously Aqualad, is essentially ascended and become the new Aquaman,
Hmm.
as Arthur Curry apparently retired and decided to start making movies instead. So so now that so he's essentially taken Arthur's place in the league, and he's
Hmm.
actually become the league leader at the moment, the chairman.
Yes.
So he got more of a high profile, but as a result, probably because he was such a high profile character in season two, they decided to kind of bench him, I think, in this season so far. Now he might
Yeah.
show up in the second half, but in this first half, he doesn't really do a whole lot.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So do you like the idea that maybe yeah, they'll be essentially graduating, to use a popular term, that they'll graduate to the league at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with the members going from the Outsiders or even in the comics Titans to Justice League. Like I didn't like in New 52 when they made Cyborg just like, oh yeah, he's been in the Justice League since day one. It's like kind of kills some of that Titans history.
Yeah,
Like I said, I have no problem with people graduating up into the league, but yeah, don't change history like that.
yeah. Now one of the things that happens is uh, the the Justice League kind of has like almost like a little schism, and they where Lex Luthor, who has now become the UN Secretary General, essentially is putting some restrictions on the team. And of course, that doesn't set well with, say, people like, oh, Batman
Yeah.
and Green Arrow and some of the others. So they kind of like make plans to break away from the team. And Black Lightning also does this, but Black Lightning, instead of kind of going off with Batman's, what they call Batman Incorporated, which we'll talk about here in a bit. Black Lightning ends up more with the Outsiders because, hey, in the comics, Black Lightning was an outsider, so why not?
Hmm.
And so, what did you think about Black Lightning joining the group?
It's interesting. Like I said, they kind of in even in the live action show, and here it's like more like a older retired Black Knight Lightning, or
Right.
wants to retire. Uh,
And he starts off at kind of like having some problems with his powers
yeah.
because he had witnessed this kid being killed, and then over the course of this series, this first 13 episodes, he kind of gets his groove back and gets back into it.
Well, yeah. I mean, wasn't it that this kid had been mutated, and he thought he was taking down some creature, but it was
Right.
actually a mutated kid, and yeah, he
Yeah.
accidentally killed it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny, like as if that wasn't traumatic enough. They later on in this, in the season, um, they have some more kids die, and so he's just horrified to see all these kids dying. So
Hmm.
so it's just adding this trauma on top of his existing trauma. It's just like I kind of watched that going like, oh come on, give the guy a break, man, because
Hmm.
it was pretty rough, I thought.
Yeah. The thing I liked about this season is like, there's been so many years between season 2 and 3. They could have started off completely fresh, and they have brought in a lot of new characters, but they've also brought in so much stuff from previous seasons.
Right.
So, like, if you are a longtime fan, there is a lot of stuff for you there too.
Yeah. Well, they did kind of explain they had that there was a 2 year gap
Yeah.
from the end of season two to this. So there was a little bit of a time jump, which is understandable, and it does kind of set things up for more like a fresh start, a fresh reboot.
Hmm.
But not so much time has passed that it doesn't connect, I think. And there are kind of like hints that, well, hey, the reach is still out there. They could still be a factor at some point. Again,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we get the. Well, I don't know how far I should jump ahead, but what was that, like episode 6 or 7? We did
right?
get that Vandal Savage episode.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the things I want to talk about when we talk about the light.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some big things that are being set up. Like
Oh yeah.
that was a big setup episode for probably what's going to pay off in the second half of the season,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward to that. So essentially, we're told that we Markovia, the country of Markovia, becomes one of our settings in the early episodes, where we have the king and queen assassinated because um, the queen's brother Baron de Lam, who, hey, if you take the lamb and you kind of rearrange the letters, it's Bedlam. So it's Baron Bedlam, one of the old Batman the Outsiders foes, and he's basically wants to take over as regent because um, their son, the queen and king's son, Gregor, isn't quite old enough.
Hmm.
And that kind of causes a little bit of friction until Baron Bedlam gets exposed and kicked out, and Gregor ascends to the throne. But in the process, his brother Brion, I always used to call him Brian, but
Me too.
so it was a little threw me for a little bit that they're calling him Brion. So Brion, um, he wants to help his country. He ends up getting superpowers with the help of Dr. Helga Jace, and as a result, though, metahumans get banned from Markovia, so he has to leave the country. So wah wah a little bit, and that sets off the whole thing that Nightwing and Superboy and Tigress, they kind of feel that there's these metahumans, kind of refugees from Markovia. So like Brion, who becomes the superhero named Geoforce, who was also one of the original comic Outsiders,
Hmm.
and then another new character, Halo, who in this version is kind of a Muslim girl, um, who ends up becoming Halo, and she joins the Outsiders, and then they kind of add a couple more. They get Forager, who's a refugee from, um, you know, New Genesis,
Hmm.
and so we have a bit of a New Gods connection here. And later in the series, Cyborg joins the group, and then at the cliffhanger, we have Tara joining the group. So what do you think of all these new outsiders? These new versions of the outsiders, I should say, and and what they've brought to this season.
It's very interesting because, like as we said, Brion,
Yeah,
he was older when they first introduced him, correct? Like he wasn't this young.
yeah, exactly. In the comics, I want to say he was more like around 1920,
Hmm.
and then because I think he was going to college. But here, yeah, he's definitely younger. He's apparently the younger brother because Gregor's the older brother, which is why he ascends to the throne.
Hmm.
So essentially, like Gregor was the heir and Brion was the spare. So in kind of Markovian royalty. So he probably wasn't going to become king anyway, but he felt like he wanted to kind of help his country, help his brother,
Hmm.
and and go after Baron Bedlam. So he essentially subjected himself to these experiments and became Geoforce, and that pretty much kind of falls in line with from the comics because Dr. Helga Jace, gave Geoforce's powers in the comics, and also gave powers to Brion's younger sister Tara, who obviously becomes the superhero and then later supervillain Tara. So, what did you think of the Terra cliffhanger while I'm talking about it?
That's what I wanted to ask you because
Yes,
it seems like they're ramping up this on like a bunch of series on DC Universe because
right,
it almost looks like we're getting Judas Contract here, and then
right.
on the live action Titans, it looks like aren't we supposed to be getting
Yeah,
some version of the Judas Contract?
because we're going to be getting Deathstroke and Jericho and Ravager have already been confirmed. But I'm thinking on the Titans live action series that maybe Ravager joins the Titans.
Mm.
Maybe Terra won't be um, joining the Titans on the live action show, but here, um, Terra essentially, yeah, essentially they're doing already. They seem to be setting up at least the Judas contract on Young Justice Outsiders.
And on this series, do you think Tara is going to betray them of her own free will, or is it some kind of manipulation?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we don't know. We haven't really seen her.
Yeah,
The only thing we've seen was with Tara was that we kind of got the hint when she was shown on a rooftop, all shadowy, and she drops a boulder on this guy.
yeah,
And so presumably that was her. We don't know, but we haven't actually seen her until that final episode.
yeah.
So we don't know. I mean, was she just, evil all along? Is she being manipulated? Is she just being, you know, tricked by Deathstroke? We don't know. And but I guess it all depends on how faithfully they adapt the Judas contract. Obviously, the
Well,
Titans are involved, but
yeah.
but as far as Deathstroke and Terra's influence or interaction, I have to think that that's going to be part of it.
That was going to be my other question. As like you're a big fan of the Wolfman and
Yes.
Perez era.
Oh yeah,
Era.
yeah. I'm huge
Would
on
you
that.
want
Yeah.
would you want them to stay
Faithful.
faithful that she's actually just like a bad person, or would you want would it be all right if she was being manipulated either mentally or blackmailed or something?
I kind of would. I like to kind of see this be a little bit faithful. Obviously, it's not going to be totally faithful because of the outsiders,
Yeah,
but it would be kind of nice also to get a twist.
yeah.
So I think my answer is that I'm good either way. I think the twist would be fun, that to do something more unexpected because
Hmm.
if you're familiar with the storyline and obviously because it was a 1980s storyline, maybe they figure, well, a lot of younger viewers who are going to be watching Young Justice aren't going to be familiar with it.
Yeah.
But the older fans who are familiar with that storyline, they've got to see it coming a mile away. What's going to happen if so? You would think they would at least try to do some little twists here and there to try to, trick people. Maybe kind
Hmm.
of lead them down a certain path and then kind of like, you know, kind of do like just this abrupt, unexpected twist that changes things and, plays against expectations, I guess. I kind of like, I'd like to kind of like to see that, I
Yeah.
think, because it would be nice to be, have a little bit, it would not be so predictable, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it would be nice, especially since it looks like we're getting at least two versions of the Judas
Hmm.
contract.
Right. But but yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously it's nice because they do have Geoforce here that we're actually going to get to see Geoforce and Terra.
Yes.
So and they're both brother and sister, so we'll get to get that um, aspect because they've done um, animated version of the Judas Contract already in the direct to home video movie, Teen
Yeah.
Titans: The Judas Contract. But but Geoforce wasn't a factor there, but here he is. So it would be kind of nice to get that storyline more from Brion's perspective, I think.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting if, like, I mean, we've seen him like lose his cool
Right.
literally. And you think maybe it's just because he's worried about his sister. But I mean, would it be interesting if like the two of them are linked, where like if one of them is like happy or content, the other one is
Mm,
angry, and
yeah. Now, one of the things I'm kind of wondering, now that you bring it up, will Tara have a kind of romance with Beast Boy?
yes.
Do you want to see that, or should she have like a romance with somebody else?
I mean, that would be interesting. I mean, they kind of made it seem like weren't they like almost like on a date or something, or is that just her?
Well, that was that princess.
Okay, okay. Wait.
You're talking about when he gets the goggles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that was that princess from this. Was it here that Queen Perdita?
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, so that wasn't Terra, but um,
I mean, it would
it
be
easily become that way though.
yeah. I mean, it would be interesting, especially if they're gonna have
Yeah,
Beast Boy around more
right.
to have the relationship between those two. Which I'm glad they brought Beast Boy back in because I mean that was like something from past seasons where they're
Right.
like they could have just been like, oh look, we gave you this little Easter egg. Beast Boy was in an episode, but I mean
Yeah.
that they actually brought him back and he's like the movie star or the TV star now.
Yeah, exactly. They did the whole Space Trek 2022 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool that they actually incorporated that.
Did
Go ahead.
Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy that little Doom Patrol
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
thing?
Doom Patrol Go I thought was hilarious. Since we're on the topic of Beast Boy, um, and it amazed me how dark it was. If you actually listen to the lyrics of that,
Oh yeah.
it was just so dark and talking about like hey, we're gonna all go off and die, and talking about Beast Boy's dead mothers and all that, and it's just like
Yeah.
all packaged up in the kind of Saturday morning version of Teen Titans Go.
And I believe it weren't those like the same actors,
Yeah,
voice actors from the
yeah,
Teen Titans Go.
yeah, there was. I mean, because the in that version, the one who does Beast Boy, the voice of Beast Boy in on that show on Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans, the animated series,
Hmm.
did the voice here of Beast Boy, and then Kari Payton, who did the voice of Cyborg on that show, was Robot Man.
Hmm.
So it's little nudges like that. And then I think the one who did the voice of Robin was the Chief,
Chief, yeah.
and other. Oh, and I think the one who was Starfire on the animated series was was
Ala-
Elastigirl here.
yeah.
So I thought it was pretty clever, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I think I posted it on our Titan Talk um, Facebook page if you want to check it out. If it's on YouTube, so if you want to check out the whole Doom Patrol Go thing, and I really recommend it you do because it is kind of messed up. Um, I really dug that. So yeah, check that out. I like that a lot. Now, one more thing before we move on. Um, I'm curious how, because we do have a number of Titans involved, and like we do have Beast Boy, we've got Terra, and we have a cyborg introduced late in these 13 episodes, and we have Nightwing. So I kind of wonder if we are going to see. Do you think we'll see something like with Deathstroke hunting each one of the various Teen Titans or the members of the Outsiders that have those Titans connections?
Maybe, or I wonder, it would be interesting if Deathstroke or whoever takes down other members, like, like Superboy and like the Outsiders, if like if Nightwing has to put together another like
Right.
emergency team, and it's just like Cyborg, Beast
It's like
Boy.
who's left?
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be pretty funny. Um, you see, because yeah, one of the cool things about the original comic book storyline was that everybody gets taken out by Deathstroke except for Dick Grayson,
Yep.
who is the Deathstroke you would think would thought was the easiest one because he had no powers. But Dick Grayson was the more resourceful one, so he got away, and that's when he has to like team up with Jericho, and they go in and rescue the Titans and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe we'll see something similar, or at least a version of that. But if they are doing the Judas contract, I just kind of yeah, it's something I think that could potentially happen in the back half of season 3 here.
Hmm.
All right. Since we talked about Deathstroke, why don't we go ahead and move on to our next topic,
Okay.
and that's the Light, who, um, if you remember, they were basically like the Young Justice's version of the Legion of Doom. They were in Young Justice and Invasion. They were allied with the Reach and working in tandem with them. But now that the Reach is kind of off to the side and not really a factor at the moment, the Light seems to have a new alliance going, and that alliance seems to be with Darkseid.
I was gonna say at least Vandal Savage,
Yeah,
because they revealed in that
right,
episode he's
right,
had an alliance with Darkseid for what, hundreds of years at
right,
least.
right. But presumably, Vandal Savage being, yeah, he has this long time, long-term relationship, or at least partnership or alliance, whatever,
Hmm.
with Darkseid. So, do you think that Vandal Savage is kind of keeping this separate from the Light, or do you think that he's using the Light to advance Darkseid's goals?
Well, my question is, who's in the light? Because didn't Ra's al Ghul tell us that he's not part of the
Yeah.
light anymore?
So I kind of like wrote down some notes about who's actually in the Light. So as far as
Hmm.
I know, it's Vandal Savage, Queen Bee, who is voiced by Marina Sirtis. I think Lex Luthor's still a part of that, and we know Granny Goodness is involved, and
Mm-hmm.
then Deathstroke, we know he's involved. There was hints that Bane is involved.
Did you say Lady Shiva?
Lady Shiva's going to be one of, yeah, she's involved as well, and then Vandal Savage's daughter Cassandra Savage,
Yes,
which is a new character. I don't know, or I'm wondering if she's kind of like a version of Scandal from DC Comics.
maybe.
Scandal Savage. We also have the Mist and Livewire, the Shade, Count Vertigo, Dr. Simon X, who is a really obscure Batman villain called Dr. Double X, if you're familiar with that character,
Hmm.
and the Sensei and Black Spider. That's who I have as being part of the Light. Does that sound about right?
I think so. Did they confirm Sensei? Because wasn't he with Ra's al Ghul, who said he was no longer a part of the?
I don't know. I mean, as far as because they did go to that, that
It,
rescue op episode
yeah.
where they went to the island and then Sensei kind of took them out. They were
Oh
basically
yeah.
it was Brion and then Halo and Forager go to Infinity Island to confront the League of Shadows, and then Sensei kicks their ass essentially.
And we got a couple surprises on that island too.
Yes, we did. Yep. And yeah, because Barbara Gordon, Oracle, figured out Halo's real identity.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now it's true. Now, um, I know we kind of jumped ahead a little bit, um, but what do you think that what do you think Darkseid's ultimate plan here is,
Do you
or don't we know yet? Because I know they kind of teased it, um, but that apparently that maybe it's just some way to like use all these metahumans, get them under their control so they can attack the new gods, attack New Genesis, perhaps, or something else.
maybe or just calling the metahuman herd. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows with Darkseid?
Yeah, I know. Now they did introduce this concept called the Father Box.
Yes.
And that is what we're kind of hinted at that becomes used instead of the Mother Box to create Cyborg in this version. And Victor Stone is heavily influenced by this. And so we had this kind of like, I want to say like a conflict because um, was it Halo that was
Yeah.
essentially Halo was like essentially like um, powered by the Mother Box
Yeah, like the
and
essence of a mother
the
box.
essence of a
Yeah.
Mother Box, and then against that was Cyborg, who was being powered by the Father Box.
Hmm.
So they were essentially opposing forces. So presumably the Father Box is something apocalyptian in nature, something
Is
from
it?
something from Apocalypse.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, what is it? Mother box like New Genesis, and then Father box is
Yeah,
like from Apocalypse. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of interesting that they're kind of having Cyborg, and this is kind of echoes Jeff Johns' Justice League origin of Cyborg.
Yes.
That that he was has that Cyborg has that connection to Darkseid almost.
Mm.
So what did you think? So do you see kind of see this? It's not just that this is becoming like an outsiders storyline. It almost seems like this is setting up, at least for the second half, to be like a New Gods type saga as well.
Yeah,
Because
we see.
Forager is a significant character, and he has connections to the New
Yeah,
Gods. And then Granny Goodness, of course, is a major player.
G. Gordon Godfrey.
Yeah, G. Gordon Godfrey, and so so there definitely are some New Gods influences here. So I kind of wonder in with because Darkseid is obviously lurking in the background, and we know from the credits of this show of Young Justice Outsiders that we see Apocalypse
Hmm.
in those credits. Before we see like they make a point of showing us just Apocalypse, and then we see some DNA strands. So presumably hinting at the metahumans.
Yes.
So there does seem to be this connection between the metahumans and Darkseid's forces.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe the league disappears somehow because of an apocalyptic boom tube or something, and that's why our team has to step up or whatever. But
Right.
yeah, I like that opening sequence, but I missed the original theme song though too.
Yeah, it was yeah, missed. I know, and that was the thing that kind of bugged me about season two was that there wasn't like that theme song from the original.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was this, you know, so many shows want to get away from actual themes.
Hmm.
So when we had that in the first season, then it feels kind of like like, oh, you're just giving us this. It's not much of an opening, is it? It's supposed to set the tone, but it doesn't really do all that much because it's only on for like
No.
5 seconds or what
And
have
it's
you.
like real low and real slow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just not nearly as inspiring, I think.
No.
Yeah. But so what did you think of all the villains though? I mean, do you think the light is gonna have to maybe ally themselves with the Outsiders and possibly the Justice League against Darkseid, or do you think they're going to help
They might.
Darkseid?
The,
Are they Team Darkseid or Team Nightwing here?
I think eventually they might have to ally themselves with the heroes to fight Darkseid, but it seems like the light's kind of in disarray too, because I mean, look,
Yeah,
Vandal Savage had to basically call Darkseid for help because he couldn't get any help to defeat this alien armada, and I mean,
right.
Look what happened to Ocean Master.
That's true. Then see, that's a good point. I didn't forget about that because yeah, Ocean Master. They actually killed off Ocean Master
Oh yeah.
in rather brutally. So, do you think that maybe yeah that the light is essentially unwitting pawns here, and they're going to get taken out, and they're going to have to either realize this and step up, or probably suffer the same fate as Ocean Master.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just too many egos in the room playing,
Yeah.
because you,
Or everybody has their own agenda. Maybe it's like a free for
yeah.
all because Vandal Savage obviously has his own agenda. Darkseid's got his.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if Deathstroke has his own agenda going on here
Oh, probably.
because of with the whole thing with Terra.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like we were saying before, like Lex Luthor is now like Secretary General of the UN. That's like my running joke is like, yeah, no one wants to be president anymore, even Lex Luthor.
That's good. That's
But
true.
but yeah, like I'm saying, it seems like everyone has their own agenda. And what about the fact that we were talking about Ocean Master's death? It's he because he was going to kill the wives and the children of the Justice League, and
Right.
Lady Shiva's like, oh yeah, this is the Light's nuclear option. We had this in our back pocket.
Yeah.
So are we saying
So
at least certain members of the Light know who the Justice League are and their families?
presumably,
Yeah,
yeah. So that is an interesting point. That um, are they just yeah just they're not ready to play that card yet, and they didn't want Ocean Master tipping their hand so soon.
yeah. Well, like we said when we talked about this, like Capes and Lunatics, it's like, yeah, they could go with that nuclear option, but do you want to play that just willy nilly? Because do you really want to anger Superman?
Right. Because yeah, obviously killing all the spouses and their kids
Yes.
would be obviously it might upset just one or two heroes in the process, and it essentially would be lighting essentially like a time bomb
Yes.
that that maybe and the light isn't obviously they're trying to be strategic about this, so maybe they felt Ocean Master was going rogue and decided to take him off the board.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It seems like there's so much disarray. Yeah, Ocean
Yeah,
Master's just gonna like
yeah, like
take this action, and Lady Shiva's like, "Oh yeah, we don't need you bringing the wrath of Superman and the Flash and everyone else down on our heads right now.
right.
We have
So
enough trouble."
yep. So yeah, so there might be a bit of a power struggle in the light in the
Hmm.
in the back half of the season, perhaps. All right. Third group I want to talk about, Batman Incorporated. So um, now this group is essentially teased just more of a little bit,
Hmm.
but because Batman isn't going to just sit things out because hey, it's Batman. So he's formed unofficially what Black Lightning teasingly referred to as Batman Incorporated, which is a nod to Grant Morrison's series Batman Incorporated, where um, Batman has essentially like a bunch of operatives.
Basically, puts a Batman in every country almost.
Exactly. So here, though, um, Batman Incorporated almost kind of functions like a second Outsiders group.
Yes.
So we have like Nightwing in the Outsiders, and then we have Batman in the Outsiders, sort of. So Batman, um, he has his usual his usual group, his usual Batman family. I mean, we have the Tim Drake Robin, we have Spoiler, um, and now because of him leaving the Justice League, we have Green Arrow and Arrowette,
We had Orphan.
and yeah, and yeah, we also had Orphan, Cassandra Cain, and we get the addition of Metamorpho and Katana from the Outsiders comics.
Yes.
So, kind of wondering, like, are we going to see these two groups merge at some point? So that we have like all of Batman, Black Lightning, Metamorpho, Orphan, Halo, Geoforce together, or do you think they'll keep them separate?
I don't know. I even wonder if eventually are we going to get some kind of spin-off because you basically have like every bad character in
Right.
existence here. You've got it like all the outsiders.
Yeah, we're supposed to get some more members of Batman Incorporated because we're supposed to get like Batwoman
Mm.
in the second half. We're supposed to get Plastic Man and Hardware. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to bring Batwoman in since
Right.
yeah, since
They're,
that show's coming.
yeah, so hasn't been confirmed yet, but they're shooting the pilot, so fingers crossed.
Yes.
Remember, there will be a crisis, so stay tuned. And so I'm really curious to see because Batman hasn't quite made his move yet. He kind of sent Metamorpho and Katana and Orphan to kind of what was it that there was that one episode. Let me consult my notes here.
Well, you said they were like kind of like another outsiders team, but
Yeah,
like when they were talking to Wonder Woman, like they even said they're like, yeah, we're the other version of the light, we're the opposite of the light, and she's like, "Was that to make you the dark?"
right. Yeah, and that wasn't sitting well with her, was it?
No, no. She's like, "Are you ready to lie?" They're just like, "Yeah."
Yeah, and it seems like the Justice League, is kind of almost out of touch with everything that's going on,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure if I'm happy with that. You'd think they'd be taking a more active role,
Well, some of them were
but
being kept in the dark too, because like even like was
yeah,
it Batman who said, "Do you really want Superman on the stand and have to lie?"
right, right. So maybe this just, it's just they're setting it up this way. The writers are because they feel that they have to justify Batman and everybody else going rogue and not being like the public face anymore. They have to be this covert group. So they have to kind of create the distinction like, okay, the league is the face that interacts with the public while we do the dirty work behind the scenes.
Yep.
But I kind of wonder when is the league, once they get wind of what Batman and Nightwing and everybody else are doing, um, is this going to be essentially like a DC version of the Civil War
Mm.
going on? Is that going to actually set well with the league, or there'll be, oh, okay, well that happened, you helped save the day, so we'll just kind of look the other way on this one.
Unless there's going to be just be two teams butting heads going forward, the Justice League and the Outsiders.
Yeah, and all right, one of the things that I thought was interesting, and you probably are already aware of this, but if you take the first letter of every episode title, they all like because the first title is Princess All, and then the second title is Royal We, etc., etc. Well, if you take the first letter of each title, so the first one would be P, they all spell out the episode titles for season one apparently will spell out prepare the anti-life equation.
Oh.
So I thought that was a really cool Easter egg, and so that kind of makes me wonder, like again with Darkseid, that his whole ultimate goal here is to do the anti-life equation. Um, so he's essentially like Darkseid's manipulating events through Vandal Savage, through the others, to maybe with the help of the metahumans, that he's still questing for the anti-life equation, and will use that to achieve his dominance over the universe. What do you think?
Um, yeah, like you said, I think maybe we'll get an alliance between the Light and the Justice League. Everyone against Darkseid and the forces of Apocalypse. It just seems like everyone everyone's in such disarray 'cause the
Right.
heroes are kind of
Yeah.
at not
And
on the same page. The villains are all over the place.
that's one of the things about this show is that I find interesting is that there are so many characters and there's so many
Yes,
storylines going on. It's almost like, I want to say Game of Thrones because there are so many characters, but obviously they're not killing off characters left and right like they are on Game of Thrones. Every so often we get one like Ocean Master, but
okay.
but but so do you find it a little like, a little bit confusing at times that there are so many characters and storylines? Or do you like the fact that just everybody and their brother is in this show now?
I don't find it confusing, but it's like if you like a certain character storyline, it just seems like it almost gets rushed over or like pushed to the back burner for a while because there are so many characters. That's why I keep thinking I'm like, are we gonna get like a second series out of this or something? Because there are so many characters.
Yeah, like a spin-off series. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it would be kind of nice, yeah, that maybe if they did like a Outsiders spin-off series, they could focus back on the Young Justice characters.
Yes.
Yeah, I come kind of with you on that one. I kind of feel like because there are so many characters, they can't really take the time to develop them. I mean, some characters in this season, they get their own spotlight episodes, but just when you start to kind of get into the head of one character, they shift gears and go a completely different direction with another set of characters.
Yes.
So it's kind of hard to develop them, I think. So I kind of feel like they have almost too many characters at times. And
It's like you go out and watch the show.
yeah,
Everyone's favorites in this.
yeah,
Whoever your favorite is, they're in here.
exactly. They're in here somewhere. So yeah. I mean, it's kind of on the one hand, it's kind of cool that they have this free for all of the DC universe, but I kind of wish they would kind of pare it down a little bit, or at least
Yeah.
go through arcs or something to kind of like focus on a certain storyline for a while, then shift to another one because um, it does kind of seem like like almost like a free for all. One week we'll do this, one week we'll do this, and one week we'll do this. But maybe it's just
Yeah.
me as an older fan. I kind of, compared to what, the kids want to see these days. Maybe maybe just younger viewers are just rolling with it. They're like, okay, cool, we're gonna get this so and so this week. But
I mean,
I,
we've gotten so many characters, and I've heard
right,
like people say like, oh,
yeah,
we haven't seen much of Blue Beetle or
yeah. Well, I mean, Blue Beetle was another character that was heavily a part of
hmm
Invasion. So it kind of makes sense that, okay, we're not going to see him as much for a while, but he's still out there. So I kind of, you'd like to know, like, well, hey, what's Blue Beetle up to? What's he doing? And it almost feels like they kind of let down some characters, I think.
hmm
They kind of, unintentionally fall by the wayside, I think, and they get a bit neglected.
or like one episode you have, as I call it, the Harper family, but then
Yeah,
it's like, where'd they go?
right. Yeah, because we had this really fun episode. Now that you brought it up with Roy Harper's security company,
Yes.
and was it Arrowhead Security or something like that? And
Or not even Roy Harper. It was the clone. What's his name?
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so
Jim
far.
Harper, Guardian.
No, the other,
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, the Roy Harper clone.
yeah, was it Thomas or something, or what's he called? I
I
forget what he
for,
calls himself.
I forget it, but isn't he essentially Speedy still?
I think, yeah, there's the original, and then there's his clone, yeah, and then there's,
Yeah,
like you said, Guardian,
yeah,
and they're, yeah, with Dick Grayson, yeah.
all these Harpers, and then of course they Roy ends up giving Halo the last name Harper to kind of connect her
Yes.
a little bit. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That was a
Somebody,
fun episode. That was a fun episode
yeah,
with Brick, also voiced by Kari Payton, I
yeah.
believe.
Again, yeah. If it's a black character, Carrie Payton's 9 times out of 10 voicing it. But that was a good episode of Private Security. You had Nightwing, Dick Grayson, and then Will. That's his name.
Will, yes.
Yeah, well, that's the Roy Harper clone's name, Will. And that was we had was it here? Yeah, they get. And we also had Zatanna and Zatara in that episode. So we kind of got to
Oh
catch
yeah.
up with that and Doctor Fate to kind of remind everybody. Oh yeah, hey, Doctor Fate's Naboo is using Zatara's body, and once a year, he
For
lets
like an hour.
yeah
Yeah.
for like an hour lets Zatara talk to his daughter Zatanna.
Lets him take off the helmet for an hour, yeah.
Yeah, and then she has to wait a whole nother year just to see him again, which I got to think
Which one's
you
well
get it like where's the resolution to that storyline? Are they
that's what I
just
was
going
gonna
to leave
say,
that?
besides besides the first episode of the season, with the gathering of the Justice League, and then
Yeah.
that episode, you really haven't seen Doctor Fate
No.
this season. Yeah, they just like threw that in.
Yeah, it's just all these random scenes. Like,
Hmm.
okay, here's this person, and we're going to tease something that, like just to remind you about this person, but then we're not going to do anything with them for the rest of the series.
Hmm.
So it gets a little frustrating, I think.
Unless that's just their plan. They're like, oh, we'll throw in so much stuff. They'll give us like 5 more seasons.
The show will go on forever. It'll be longer than Supernatural.
Hey, it's animation. As long as those people can keep those voices up, they can go.
That's true.
Let me look at The
Or
Simpsons.
or you could always recast. Yeah, it's true. Look at The Simpsons. That's 30 plus years. So what was your favorite episode of this half season?
Um, hmm. I don't know. Like I said, the private security one was pretty good. I don't know if I have like a full episode. It's just like little moments. Like we were talking about the whole thing with Ra's al Ghul on the island and stuff, and we
Yeah,
kind of got hints that hey, maybe they were getting a Jason Todd, and oh look, there's baby Damien.
right.
Uh, I loved the whole thing we were talking about with Ocean Master with like the kids party. I loved
Yes.
Impulse chasing the Tornado Twins around. It's like, Dad, slow down, and Iris is like, quit calling him that.
Or Grandpa. He was talking about Grandpa, and then just something like that.
Yeah,
That was
but I think he called Dawn. He's like, Dad, slow down, and
yeah,
she's like,
yeah.
don't call him that.
So funny. Oh, that's right. Because dude, Don is yeah. Actually, I don't think. Um,
In the
yeah,
comics, yeah, I thought it was,
yeah. Because he's an Allen. So
yeah,
yeah. So it's interesting. So yeah, Don Allen of the Tornado Twins would be Bart Allen's father. Yes, that makes sense. Um, I like this episode. It was called Triptych by Peter David. So Peter David, who used to write the Young Justice comic book back in the day,
hmm
wrote an episode of Young Justice Outsiders. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that was this where they had the kind of the three stories told by Nightwing, Robin, and Aquaman,
oh yeah,
and which makes sense because Peter David also wrote Aquaman, so it made sense that he kind of had that. And that first was the Barbara confronting like he was telling Dick Grayson was telling Barbara about how he confronted like Cheshire and others for information regarding the League of Shadows, and then later we had Aquaman talking to Wonder Woman about a transport where Sportsmaster escaped with a metahuman prisoner and all that. And so I just thought it was kind of cool, and then I got to enjoy a little bit of Peter David dialogue in that. So I thought it was pretty cool. And then obviously I like the one episode Exceptional Human Beings, which that was the episode where Batman, Katana, and Metamorpho go on that covert mission to Santa Prisca.
yes,
So that was a cool episode. And where we had and this is I thought was pretty cool. Danny Trejo as Bane,
yes.
which was pretty epic, I thought. So that was great casting as far as I'm concerned. And then the last one I probably really liked was Nightmare Monkeys. That was the big Beast Boy episode. So that's where we got the whole Doom Patrol
Yeah,
go and
the
everything.
Doom Patrol.
Yeah, yeah, that was I thought that was really good. So, and that was that was where they figured out that those good goggles that they were teasing all season, and you knew had to be important. Um, that essentially they're being used by Granny Goodness, and that that to find metahumans and kind of corral them, and so that they can basically brainwash them to go to this kind of like pickup place, and that's kind of how the metahuman trafficking happens.
Hmm.
So, so what did you think about the revelation? Did you figure out that was Granny Goodness all along, or did you kind of were you surprised by that?
No, I kind of knew because I'm trying to remember. I knew just that there was enough of the name where I knew it was Granny Goodness, and
Yeah,
of course, the appearance. And of course, it wasn't there like conversations between her and G. Gordon Godfrey. I'm like, oh, okay, okay,
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. And so
Oh, do you know who?
go
I
ahead.
knew who else we got. Fred Bug and
Yeah,
Halo met Harper Row at
yeah,
school.
that was real unexpected. Yeah, yeah, that was the previous episode. Was it here? Another freak.
Yes.
And that was cool because we had Halo and Forager going to high school. Apparently, Forager is using what, Marvel, it's called an image inducer.
Hmm.
And he's going by the alias Fred Bug, Fred Bug with two G's, and going around telling everybody, "Hi, I'm Fred Bug with two G's." And Fred Bug with two G's would like to say that Fred Bug with two G's is very happy to meet you.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And so they start attending Happy Harbor High. But yeah, one of the students that also starts attending was Harper Row from Scott Snyder's Batman run.
Hmm.
And this is the first time we've seen her like adapted for either TV or movie. So that was kind of cool. So
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We pretty much have every bad character. I'm wondering if we're getting
yeah,
like a Batman family spinoff or something.
it could be. I mean, maybe it'd be nice to kind of get maybe a proper Batman and the Outsiders
Yeah.
series. Could be that. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see that. I mean, um, you kind of wonder who's next. I guess.
Hmm.
But obviously, if they're even drawing as recently as Scott Snyder's Batman run, I think that's cool. And using somewhat more of the like New 52 era and hopefully the Rebirth era characters,
Yeah.
right? So that'd be cool.
Oh, you know what we didn't mention?
Who?
The appearance of Lobo.
Yeah. So the Light sends Lobo after Forager,
Hmm.
essentially to try to get like confirmation that Nightwing has a covert group, and that was a pretty good episode. So we had everybody attacking Lobo, and it's up to Forager who actually defeats him, for lack of intent, for lack of other words. So that was kind of a big episode for Forager in that one. He sheds his shell. He ends up going naked, as he refers to
Hmm.
himself, which I thought was pretty funny. And that was also the same episode where Ocean Master got offed by Lady Shiva. And but that yeah, ultimately though, the Light is revealed to be behind the attack on Forager, and they kind of see as a potential threat. So they're already realizing that um, Nightwing at least is moving against them. So we'll see.
Oh yeah.
But that was a great episode. Any other big stuff I'm missing? I know we kind of glossed over. There's just there, there was just so much to unpack in these 13 episodes, and
Like we said, yeah, there's so much. They throw everything in
I
there.
mean, and we got like 3 episodes a week. So it was I when we were first talking about reviewing these with Jesse, that we were wondering like, well, should we do like a three uh, here and there, and but then when they just kind of dumped everything out in like just a few weeks, I'm just like, well, we should just do the first half of the season.
Hmm.
So I know there's a lot that we're missing. Um, Hopefully, we'll get to cover more uh, whenever the second half airs, sometime early summer or late spring. But um, but hopefully, at least got to address the major stuff. Is there anything do you think that we forgot to talk about
Um,
that
I
you
don't.
wanted to talk about?
I don't think, but like, what's up with the ending of each episode? It's always like someone sleeping or.
Yeah. I kind of wondered that myself. I keep waiting for something to happen. And what Phil's talking about here is the closing credits where we either see uh, Wolf, Superboy's pet wolf, sleeping and not being very energetic at all,
Mm-mm.
and you keep waiting for something to happen, nothing does, or it's Sphere or the Super Cycle, and they're just kind of sitting around beeping, not really doing anything either. So I'm not sure what the point of that. I keep waiting, like, okay, is this the episode where something happens? And nothing ever does. So it seems kind of odd to me.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just waiting to see if there's a big payoff with that, or I'm it's like yeah. So I'm like, oh, is Wolf gonna die? Because it just seems like the Wolf's just laying around not doing anything.
Yeah, I kind of wondered that too because like they talk about well, Wolf's getting older or something maybe, and that maybe he does a big sacrifice. I keep waiting for something like that to happen.
Hmm.
And then the Super Cycle having a problem with Cyborg because of the father box technology, and not sure what exactly the payoff is there either. I keep waiting for
Just
just we're I mean I know it's only the first half of the season, but they're teasing stuff, and you'd think there'd be at least give us a little bit more of a hint about where they're going with this.
yeah,
I don't know.
just so much stuff.
So much stuff, so many characters, so many plot lines, and it was very hard. Like, and probably Phil can appreciate this. Is that it was just so hard to kind of boil these down into like some kind of manageable topics here because there's just so much to talk about. I mean, we didn't even get to talk about like Dr. Helga Jace and Black Lightning getting hot for one another and having
Oh
sex.
yeah, yeah.
That was interesting, unexpected. Do you think Helga Jace is a good guy, or is she up to no good here? Because
I
we know that she goes
mean,
bad in the comics.
yeah. I mean, she seems good here unless they're completely snowing us. I mean, just
Yeah, who
because she
knows?
seems like she's like, oh, my kids, but
Yeah, I wouldn't just leave her alone. I'd definitely keep an eye on her. And then, they keep teasing stuff between Cheshire and Roy Harper, but
hmm.
still really nothing there. And what else? Let's see. I think that's about it.
So is that just it? Is that why there's so much stuff in these episodes? Because like some of it's like red herring, so you're just sitting there waiting to see, okay, which direction are they going to
I
take
don't know.
this in, or which character are they going to pick to go forward with?
Unless they're already just thinking, well, hey, we'll probably be back for another season. So we'll
Yeah.
just drop some stuff here and there, and then if we want to play with it later, we can. Otherwise, we'll just ignore it and not worry about it. I don't know.
Okay.
It can be a little frustrating, I think. All right. So if there's nothing else, uh, now I asked you if you wanted to. Do you have a rating for this first half of the season?
Yes, I will give this a solid A. Or
Okay.
it's an A, but okay, I know you like the objects.
Yeah, well, we do yeah, we do it on a 10 scale, so it's up to
Oh,
you.
okay.
So
Okay,
yeah.
10. I think I would have to give this I'm definitely giving this 10 10 metahuman 10 new metahumans because we probably did get 10 new metahumans in this,
That sounds
this
about right.
season.
That sounds
Yes.
about right. So you really like this first half of the season.
Yeah, you know what? It's just I like the live action Titan series, but I like Young Justice even more because maybe because it's closer to the comics. But I like Dick Grayson in Titans, but I like the Dick Grayson character even more here. Again, maybe because it's closer to the comics.
Right. And I really do. Yeah, I agree because I do like seeing Nightwing getting more of the spotlight this season
Hmm.
than he did before. And it's kind of cool to have him like instead of Batman over like getting the major focus. It's cool to see Nightwing overseeing the outsiders. I think
Oh yeah.
I like that, and butting heads with. Although if I do hear Geoforce being upset that Dick Grayson wants him to be patient one more time, because that was driving me nuts. Like,
Yeah.
how many times do we have to hear that Geoforce is impatient and Nightwing wants him to calm the F down?
That's why I'm just wondering. They keep pounding that into your head. If like there's something going on with like it's either his powers or he has a connection with
They
his sister,
they
where it's
had to
like,
had to do that at least 5 or 6 times this first half of the
yeah.
season.
That's why I'm like, is there something there, or they just,
I don't know. You just like, is he like, we get it. Geoforce is a hothead. Nightwing has to calm him down. We can get that, but he doesn't have to do it like every episode.
yeah.
Um, Now, as for me, because there was just this is more. It feels like more setup at the moment.
Hmm.
Hopefully for the bigger payoff at the end of the second half. I'm gonna reserve a little bit and give this just 8.5 out of 10 mother boxes.
Mm.
So I really liked it, but I'm waiting for more payoffs.
Yeah.
So I'll probably give it a much higher grade in the second half,
Yeah.
but this first half, I'm just kind of I don't want to give a 10 right out of the gate.
Yeah.
I want to wait and see how they pay the things off.
I mean, I think it. Yeah, there is a bunch of setup, but also I think it's like again we have all these new characters, and two, the show's been gone so long. I think it's just like, hey, remember this? Hey,
Yeah,
remember this? You
exactly.
don't? We'll walk you through it.
Right. Kind of like reintroducing everybody to a
Yeah.
new audience, I think. All right. All right. And then let's see here. What we'll do next. Now, I want to get into some Doom Patrol news really quickly. Are you excited about the new Doom Patrol series
Uh,
on DC Universe?
yeah, I'm interested to see this. I don't know. I wasn't like the big. I mean, I don't have a problem with them, but I wasn't like the biggest Doom Patrol fan. I never read the
Right.
book. Most of my knowledge comes from like them appearing in other books and stuff. And
Well, did you watch the Titan series?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
So you saw the Doom Patrol episode of that,
yes, yeah.
presumably. So
That got
did you
that
like that?
intrigued me. Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of asked the same of Jesse. So do you think that that Doom Patrol episode kind of at least maybe developed a little bit of your interest in possibly seeing the Doom Patrol spin-off,
Yeah, definitely. And I think I agree with
or
Jesse
at
that
at least checking it out?
yeah. Oh yeah. And I think I agree with Jesse that the chief kind of comes off as a jerk, which I know is kind of intentional. So
Yeah, yeah, because he is. Yeah, he's supposed to be a jerk,
yeah.
but now he's going to be a jerk played by Timothy Dalton. So
Yes.
so I think that's much better casting, personally.
Oh.
I'm
Oh
looking
yes.
I'm looking forward to that. It's uh, if you watched Timothy Dalton like on as James Bond or on Penny Dreadful or even movies like Hot Fuzz, he's really good. So
Take it back. Take it back. Wasn't it him in the Rocketeer?
yes, he was the bad guy,
Yes.
Neville Sinclair in The Rocketeer. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think he's really good casting for that. So I want to do here in Titans Tower. I want to do some quick Doom Patrol news
Okay.
because just this week they kind of released um, descriptions for the first two Doom Patrol episodes, and apparently those there's going to be at least what DC Universe is showing so far. There are going to be 15 Doom Patrol episodes in this first season because there's 15 spaces. Will they use them all? Who knows? But because I thought we were only supposed to get 13, but there are 15 spaces, so we'll see.
Hmm.
Something interesting. So in the first episode pilot, Ed has the description in the series premiere episode. The team, tired of being stuck in Doom Manor, decides to visit the local town while the chief is away. However, this seemingly harmless field trip leads to some grave consequences, including an encounter with the mysterious and powerful Mr. Nobody, played, of course, by Alan Tudyk.
Mm.
or Tudyk, Wash from Firefly. So definitely looking forward to that. Um, I've, as a fan of Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol comic book series, when they announced that they were going to bring in Mr. Nobody, I was geeking hard at that because that was a character I never expected to ever see on television, and I'm so glad they're doing that. And getting Alan Tudyk is great casting, as far as I'm concerned. And then in the second episode, which is called Donkey Patrol, following Mr. Nobody's capture of Nels Calder and the destruction of Cloverton, Ohio, and just as an aside, Cloverton, Ohio doesn't exist. It's a completely made up town. Um, the Doom Patrol investigate the mysterious albino donkey and discover it is a door to another universe, one where Mr. Nobody is in control. And Cyborg, aka Vic Stone, played of course by Joyvan Wade in this series, a part man, part machine hero from Detroit who has his own complicated relationship with Niles Calder, the chief, joins the search.
Hmm.
So apparently, Cyborg. We knew that Cyborg was going to be a part of this Doom Patrol series, but apparently, he doesn't make his debut until the second episode. So,
Hmm.
so I thought that was interesting. So definitely looking forward to Doom Patrol. I know that Jesse and I are going to be talking about that in our next episode. So that's what we're going to be doing next time on Titan Talk. We're going to talk about the Doom Patrol pilot here in a couple weeks. And hopefully Jesse likes it so that he can keep talking Doom Patrol with me. Otherwise, I might have to go look for a new Doom Patrol co-host. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, everybody.
But no, before we go, I don't think
Yeah,
you guys have done an episode since then. Since the announcement of George Perez's retirement.
yeah. We should talk about that. Yeah, sadly, thank you for bringing that up. George Perez obviously has been having some health problems and vision problems in recent years, and has decided to step away from regular convention appearances. Apparently, he's going to be doing the odd appearance, the odd, stuff for charity, things like that. But essentially, he's retiring from comics. And as a longtime fan of George Perez, I've met him a few times. We actually had dinner together once,
Hmm.
and he was very gracious. This was back when he was writing Silver Surfer for Marvel, and
Okay.
he's just one of the best people you could ever hope to meet, comics wise. And it's kind of a sad feeling to know that he's having to step away like this. But I totally understand, given the situation, and I wish him nothing but the best. And I'm sure you do
That
too, Phil.
Oh yeah, I definitely do. I mean, it's so nice to hear like these creators who bring you so much joy through your life that they're actually the
Right.
ones who are nice, like nice people.
Yeah, and obviously his body of work is going to be a legacy that lasts for generations because
Oh yeah.
obviously, like here on Young Justice Outsiders, they're already hinting at the Judas Contract storyline, which was done by George and Marv Wolfman in Tales of the Teen Titans, and then obviously you have the Titans TV series, which is heavily influenced because characters like Raven, Starfire, and others were created by Marvin George. So
Hmm.
um, that's important. And then uh, there's gonna be characters like Jericho that were created by Marvin George going to be introduced, and Terra. So and I'm just you've got the upcoming Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover on the CW that obviously was by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, and so George's importance is going to be, after losing Stan Lee like we did here um, at the end of last year, that having George Perez step away into retirement is, it's another important. I mean, obviously, thankfully, he's not dying,
Yeah.
but it just makes you is another reminder that time is affecting all of us, and I'm sad to see him go. So, but thankfully we have so many of his creations to enjoy for years to come. That was my point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. DC, Marvel. I mean, he's definitely made his mark on the industry.
Exactly. and obviously it's going to be a lot more to come, I'm sure. So we'll see. Um, all right, so like I said, next time we're going to talk about Doom Patrol, the pilot. Uh, Otherwise, if you want to get a hold of us, we didn't get any feedback like I had hoped for this episode. But if you want to reach out to us, let us know, like if you're looking forward to the upcoming Doom Patrol series. What do you think about that? What are your hopes? What are your things you want to talk about? The characters, the actors. Tell it to Titan Talk here at titantalkcast@gmail.com. That's titantalkcast@gmail.com. Or you can reach us on the Twitter machine at Titan Talk Cast on Twitter. We'd love to have you like us and follow us there. Also, Titan Talk, the Titan Podcast, excuse me, on Facebook. You can reach us there, drop us a line, like us. We definitely appreciate that. We have a bunch of followers. Obviously, we'd love to have more, so please tell your friends about us. And if you're if you're looking forward to the upcoming Doom Patrol series, you want to stay in touch because we obviously are going to be covering that here. One way or another, we're going to be covering that here, and definitely looking forward to that. But Phil, in the meantime, where can they reach you on the interwebs?
Well, if you want to get a hold of me, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp, and just look for Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatic Sidekicks everywhere on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Excellent. Yeah, and Phil is obviously he's a great podcast host. He's very kind enough to come here and help me talk about Young Justice because I had nobody to talk Young Justice with, and I reached out to Phil. He was kind enough to say, "Yeah, thanks for thinking of me." We obviously had talked before on the Fandom Zone, but thank you, Phil, for helping us out. Definitely appreciate
Oh,
it.
thanks for having me. Like I said, it's always great talking to you, and I hope I at least fractionally filled in the shoes of the mighty Jesse Jackson.
It's we all hope that we can fill the shoes of Jesse Jackson. I try my best to keep up with him, but Jesse, if you're listening, hopefully, um, you know, uh, you may have some competition for your job because hey, Phil's did such a great job here. So, um, just thought I'd throw that out. Otherwise, as for me, you can reach me at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine or at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram. Facebook, of course, Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. And a certain blog of geeky things where I talk about all the stuff that we talk about here on Titan Talk, including, by the name of, if I can get this to work,
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Damn Good Coffee and Hot. So, yeah, well, all the stuff we talk about here, we're going to talk about Titans, Doom Patrol, any kind of casting news that comes down. I'll try and post that when I can. But, or any Young Justice news or news of my other podcasts I do for Southgate Media, including Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast that I do with Jesse and hopefully Karen again in the future. And as we're doing a bunch of fill-in hosts as we wait, hopefully, eagerly for the return of Karen. Or Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast that I do with Zan Sprouse, wife of comic book artist Chris Sprouse. We're going to talk about all things Twin Peaks, David Lynch, etc., etc. So that does it, I think. Phil, thank you once again. We definitely appreciate you helping us out here. And I hope you had
Thank you
fun.
for having me.
Hope you had a good
Oh
time.
yeah, definitely.
All right. So everybody check out Phil's podcasts because there are a lot of them. And so, if you're a Quasar fan or if you're, you name it, Nightwing fan, you name it, Phil's got you covered. So please check those out. And otherwise, we will see you next time here on Titan Talk for the Doom Patrol pilot. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. Looking forward to it. And we'll see you next time right here on Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. Bye, everybody.